Trial balance errors and the suspense account. By the end of this presentation, you should be able to explain the type of errors that cause a trial balance to disagree, explain the type of errors that do not cause the trial balance to disagree, and use the suspense account to correct errors and unknown transactions. One of the purposes of the trial balance is to detect errors. The errors that can be detected are those which result in unequal debit and credit entries. However, there are some errors that will not be detected, as they have not resulted in unequal debit and credit entries. These errors, which do not impact or show up on the trial balance, include errors on principal. These are where transactions have been entered with both a debit and credit entry, but one of those entries has been in the wrong class of account. For example, where an asset account has been used to record an expense. So not only in the wrong account, but the wrong type of account as well. This is a violation of principal. Errors of commission. These are similar to errors in principal in that two entries have been made, one debit and one credit of equal amount, with one of those entries in the wrong account, but this is without the violation of principal. So, for example, a particular expense may have been recorded in a different expense account. Insurance recorded as rent, perhaps. An error of omission is one where the transaction has not been recorded at all, with neither a debit nor a credit entry recorded. Errors of prime or original entry. These are where wrong amounts have been recorded in the books of original or prime entry, and these errors have been taken forward into the double entry system in both the debit and credit entries. For example, an error in the sales day book total will flow to both the sales account and the sales ledger control account. Compensating errors are those where two unrelated errors occur, but where the recording of both results in equal debits and credits being recorded. For example, one transaction may be recorded with £50 too much on the debit side, while another transaction may be recorded with £50 too much on the credit side, so that the impact of both errors together results in both debit and credit being overstated by £50, and, therefore, remaining at equal amounts. The final type of error that does not affect the trial balance is a double posting error. This is where there has been no error in the books of prime or original entry, but the total from the daybook has been misrecorded in the double entry system. For example, a correct total of £66,000 in the purchase daybook may have been misread as £60,000 and entered into both the purchases account and the purchases ledger control account at that incorrect figure of £60,000. These errors, once detected, are corrected by using journal entries. For example, where the purchases daybook figure of £66,000 had been incorrectly recorded as £60,000, this would be corrected by a journal entry which would debit the purchases account by £6,000 and credit the purchases ledger control account, also with £6,000. Errors, then, that do impact on the trial balance. These can be classified into three types. These are transposition errors, where the order of the digits in a number are transposed or rearranged. For example, £1,324 may accidentally be written as £1,342 in one of the accounts, while correctly stated in the other. Errors of omission, where only one side of the transaction has been omitted, so there has been a partial completion of the double entry. And the third type is posting errors. These are where two entries have been made, but both have been made on the same side. For example, two debits, or 2 credits. Where errors have resulted in an unequal, unbalanced trial balance, a suspense account is opened to record the difference. So what is the suspense account? It is a type of holding account, an account where figures are held until further information is available as to what the figures relate to. Its purpose is to record transactions where there is missing information, and it is not known where one of the entries should be appropriately made. For example, there may be a cash receipt clearly showing cash has been paid, but with no identification what it was being used for. In this case, petty cash will be credited and the suspense account will be debited until further information is known. Another purpose of the suspense account, as noted previously, is to record any difference in the trial balance. The amount in a suspense account will be such as to make the trial balance balance. The term suspense refers more to the suspension of the figures until further information is known, rather than the exciting suspense we might feel in waiting for all to be revealed. Therefore, the suspense account holds items that have yet to be correctly processed. It is necessary to find the information about those transactions that have caused the creation of the suspense account, whether they have been errors in the recording of the transactions, or the deliberate placing of items in a suspense account due to lack of information at the time of recording. When the errors have been identified and full knowledge is known of what should have been recorded, the appropriate amounts can be transferred from the suspense account to the account where they should have been recorded, using the normal double entry process. Let's consider the example where the petty cash had been appropriately credited but the suspense account debited as the receipt gave insufficient information at the time of recording the original transaction. Further investigation reveals that the cash had been used to buy miscellaneous expenses. So this would be corrected by crediting the suspense account, cancelling out the original debit entry when the petty cash receipt had been first processed, and debiting the miscellaneous expenses account, where the item should have been recorded. You should now be able to explain the type of errors that cause a trial balance to disagree, explain the type of errors that do not cause the trial balance to disagree, and use the suspense account to correct errors and unknown transactions.